Now for the big news at this hour, all three convicts in the Kolkata Park Street rape case have been given a 10 years in jail sentence. The victim, Suzette Jordan, remember, was gang raped in Kolkata in 2012. This verdict finally came in. These three convicts were accused and were also, in fact, pronounced as guilty after almost 3 years and 10 months. The case, though, had been dismissed then by Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, as she had accused Suzette Jordan of lying, and Suzette was vilified for going to a nightclub alone and taking a lift from strangers. The victim, though, died waiting for justice in March this year. Meningitis was the cause of her death. She was about 40, a single mother supporting 2 children, and her 2 daughters had been supportive of her mother all throughout the trial process.
The accused persons sentenced to rigorous imprisonment for 10 years and the fine of ₹1 lakh each. In default, another 6 months simple imprisonment.
Also, the others 120B 506 total, how much are they serving?
They are adding, they have given 6 months that will be run concurrently. Highest punishment is 10 years, rigorous imprisonment and fine of ₹1 lakh each. In default, another 6 months simple imprisonment.
Also,
Now let's cut across live to Kolkata where my colleague Indrajit Kundu joins us. Indrajit has been tracking this case right from the beginning. In fact, he had also spoken to Suzette in 2013. We will be playing out that interview for you as well in a short while from now. But first of all, Indrajit, you know, while it must be a huge sense of relief for the family that these 3 convicts have been sentenced, but the sentence itself, the quantum of punishment, 10 years, they've already been in prison for 3 years and 10 months, which means they'll only be in jail for another 6 years. Is that sufficient as far as the family goes?
Well, that's right, because when we spoke to the lawyer just a short while back, the lawyer was categorically stating that that's not what the family wanted. They wanted the maximum punishment as far as section 376 2G is concerned, which is life imprisonment. However, what we saw during, the course of the sentencing procedure that took place in the court, all the 3 accused did, have the chance to lay before the judge their side, saying that, considering the age, considering their family backgrounds, they should be given a lenient sentencing. So considering all the factors, the judge has now given them 10 years, which leaves 7 years to all 3 and also 1 lakh of fine each. So the family, of course, as a lawyer, has been stating that they were wanting life imprisonment. However, yesterday when the family came out, they clearly said that, the grandmom of Suzette Jordan, Matilda Jordan, I asked her that was that going to bring a sense of closure as far as the family is concerned. She, of course, said that these were young men and the family would pray for these 3 young men because it was their lives which were also at stake at this point in time. So huge, heart, a big heart that has been shown by the Jordan family, even in this hour of crisis. They felt that perhaps it would have been fitting if Suzette would have been alive to see this day. Her own sister, Suzette's own sister, has shaved off her head as a mark of respect to Suzette, because Suzette, who loved her hair, once told that the day she is proven and she is vindicated, she is going to shave off her head. And her sister has done that for her in this, very somber moment.
Absolutely. You know, the family has just been so dignified in grief, the kind of comments that they've come up with, Indrajit. What about Mamata Banerjee, really? You know, the father has come and shown this grand gesture where he said, I understand she might just have spoken on the spur of the moment. But is there any fresh reaction? Also, in fact, we will request our viewers to call us on 0120 480 7310. But before I go back to Indrajit, let me get in a word from activist Anandita Sharbadikari, who now joins us on the phone line. Anandita, if you could give us your sense, how do you look at this verdict that has now come in?
Oh, it's a moment to rejoice. I knew Suzette personally, and yesterday itself, her face kept coming into our minds, and how she fought till the last moment for justice, and for everybody who's fighting for justice all over the country, especially women. This verdict comes as a strengthening fact, really, And it also comes as a slap to all those people who've been like tearing her to pieces, raping her character, her persona over and over again, right from the chief minister to MPs and, you know, all these people, the erstwhile police commissioner. I just hope it comes as a slap on their face. And I also wish that, you know, all those people should now publicly apologize for trying to destroy the woman just because she fought for justice.
Absolutely, but Anindita, tell us, you know, through your interactions with Suzette, she had, you know, she was always so brave. She was the woman who came out after that rape, refusing to be hiding her head in shame, and she was willing to be identified in public. But were there moments, you know, through the last 3 years before her death, when she would just want to give up, perhaps given the kind amount of vilification that happened?
No, she was never ready to give up, but there were moments of despair because, you know, she kept telling me about all the evidence and, you know, like she said, you know, I have my credit card bills that night, I paid for my drinks, I was alone. The constant need to, you know, justify yourself, that was within her because you imagine the state is, it's, you know, itself against you.
Right.
Rashtra, the state went against her. So the need, but imagine on the other hand, enormous courage because I've never ever seen her without a smile. I've never ever seen her, you know, I mean, smiling through her tears, even, but, you know, never ever ready to give up.
Right.
She has been threatened. She has been, it's not like, you know, although it's just a vilification, but it's also like she has been threatened, pushed to take back the case, you know, all kind of retract, and she fought till the last moment.
Okay, for now, many thanks Anindita Sharbadikari for joining us with your reactions to this verdict. But let me go back to Indrajit. Indrajit, any fresh, in fact, apology or a statement or any attempt on the part of Mamata Banerjee to reach out to the family?
Well, no, we haven't heard, you know, any fresh reactions coming in from the government or from the Trinamool Congress. Of course, it was a huge embarrassment for the party which had just come in power, and you know, this incident took place and it was taken up by the opposition as a huge blot as far as women's security in the state is concerned.
Right.
Calcutta was always considered a very safe city for women, but when it happened right in the heart of Park Street, it in fact you know, shook many up, and therefore it became a high-profile case. And for the Chief Minister to come out and make such a statement without even the investigation beginning took everybody by shock, and it was her own police which has now proved her wrong. The courts clearly stating that what happened at Park Street on February 6, 2012 was indeed gang rape, and Suzette was fighting a true battle.
Okay, Indrajit, stay with us. I'm joined by our first viewer. Yashoda joins us from Chennai. Yes, please go ahead. Tell us, do you think 10 years of verdict, is this finally a justice delivered for Suzette Jordan?
To a certain extent, yes, it is. Because at last she has, you know, got the full support from the judiciary. But I think Mamata Banerjee should kick herself for opening a mouth like that and without looking into the situation properly. As a CM, she should not have, you know, called her a liar even before the, you know, case was.
Okay, thank you, Yashoda ji is calling us from Chennai. We are also joined by Arnab from Kolkata. Arnab, you know, tell us what do you feel really about this case now?
No, I think that apology before investigation, no one say anything about the what will be the result. So it can you cannot say that is she liar or not.
Right. So that was absolutely wrong on the part of the Chief Minister to have done that. Many thanks, Arnab, for having joined us with your views. But Indrajit, you know, it's not just really about Mamata Banerjee. It's about societal mindset at large. It's also about people. While Suzette did have her family to support her through this trial process, there were a lot many other civilians too, part of Kolkata society who would be perceived as liberal but who would continue to call, you know, to blame her for having taken a lift from strangers at night.
Well, that's right. There are two parts to this entire story. There's one which where she was she was shamed, she was named, and there was the other part which came out vehemently in her support and stood, rock steady next to her in her entire fight. So while there were a section of leadership like Trinamool Congress MP Kakuli Ghosh Dastidar who questioned her character, tried maligning her, and in a sense it was an insinuation when she said that perhaps it was a sour-got deal between a woman and her client, clearly hinting and trying to malign her character. There was a restaurant and bar in Kolkata just about a few years back where Suzette tried visiting along with her friends, where she was barred, she was identified, and later on, the media was called, and then she registered an FIR against that restaurant authorities. So these two incidents does speak about a societal mindset and the need to change them. But at the same time, there are so many others, activists, women's rights activists who came out and supported her. She was also featured in one of the programs of Amir Khan. She has given talks. She has come out, walked on the street demanding equal rights for women.
Right.
So she became, in a sense, the face of a symbolic face of the protest. And when the Nirbhaya verdict also came out, she was very vocal about what she felt about, sexual violence against women.
Absolutely. In fact, there was that entire conversation and, that entire thought process that said, do not stop calling them as rape victims. Of course, in this case, it is no more. But, essentially to be calling those women who go through this as rape survivors. And while the verdict is out now, rape survivor Suzette Jordan herself is no more. But in 2013, she spoke to Indrajit Kundu. Let's listen in to what she had to say then.
I don't want to be known as the Park Street victim. I have an identity of my own given to me by my parents, which I am very proud of. My name is Suzette, and I'd like to be known by my name. I was subjected to brutality and a very heinous crime. So why should I cover my face? Completely. It's they, who should cover their faces. I am not ashamed of anything, It's not that I'm proud that I was raped. Definitely not. But I'm proud that I have the guts and the courage to stand up and fight for something that was done to me. I think my fight has been a very respectable fight. And all the comments from all the dignitaries that were made to me, I have prayed for them, even today, and I have forgiven them.
Indrajit Kundu continues to be with us. Indrajit, even as Suzette in fact was just so brave, but what really happened as far as those two masterminds or the other two accused are concerned who are still absconding after 4 years? What does the police really have to say about that?
Well, one can guess as to how active the Kolkata police is as far as this case is concerned, because, the main accused, Kader Khan and Muhammad Ali, his accomplice, both of them are absconding. There are multiple versions that are coming in from police sources. Some say that he may have fled to Bangladesh. Some say that he may have fled to Middle East. A red corner notice is against him. But the person who actually spearheaded this entire case, even during Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee's, defamatory comments about the rape victim, Damayanti Sen, a firebrand IPS officer, she was shunted out from her post as the detective department head of the Kolkata police, and she was given a non-significant post at that. So one can clearly gauge the morale of the Kolkata police, given that such a statement comes from none other than the administrative head of the state, the chief minister.
Okay, Indrajit, stay with us. I'm joined, in fact, by Nilanjana Chakravarti, activist, but I will also like to go across first to Comrade Mohammed Salim with the CPM, who joins us now. Comrade Salim, for your reactions really to this case, would you say that this is justice for Suzette Jordan?
Yes, at last, justice, and after so much of obstruction put by the state government, the chief minister herself, the MP, the MLA, ministers of the TMC government were accusing the victims. Instead of the administration helping the victims, they were just abusing, and they are siding with the perpetrators of the crimes. And Mamata Banerjee even said this is concocted by the media. When the first time I held the press conference asking for an investigation, and Damayanti Sen, the case goes to the lady who successfully, within 3-4 days, cracked the case, and Mamata Banerjee said, as it was saying, sent it out. So the signal went not only in Park State, but after till this Cardiff incident, every day when these rapes are being committed, mass rapes and killings are being committed, the government or the police saying that, thinking that it's not so serious because Chief Minister herself considered these things are not serious. And these
Do you think, Comrade Salim, that the family deserves an absolutely clear apology from Mamata Banerjee, that she should perhaps go and meet the family in person?
And all the women of this country, and the family particularly, they over apologize, unconditional, and often we should say that she did so many wrong things by shunting Damayanti Sen, by accusing Sujat, by siding with and asking the police not to pursue these cases. And that's why the Katwa case, immediately after this incident, we found that the lady could not get justice because the police did not pursue the case properly.
Okay.
So I think she must apologize.
Okay, many thanks, Comrade Salim, for having joined us on this broadcast. Let me also get in a word from Nilanjana now, who joins us. Nilanjana, this case perhaps also brought to light. It's not a woman who goes through rape. It's not just about that physical pain, that mental, emotional pain of the moment, but it's also that struggle for justice, not just in courts, but also in society.
Oh, yes, absolutely. You see, what happens is, I've been saying this for a long, long time now, that, it's just not about an individual. It's about the families, the associates, the friends, the relatives, and, everybody around that person who gets affected. Their social status changes. The way people look at the victim and the victim's family, that mindset changes. We know we are trying our best in the country today, to bring about a change in the attitude. But, easier said than done.
Right.
And the entire struggle period that the victim goes, her life can never be the same again.
Absolutely.
So, the quantum of punishment that has been announced, I think it's not enough, first thing. Second thing is that, the victim, the culprits concerned should go through the grind, and not just 10 years. What is 10 years? Tell me, so many lives are affected. Today, Suzette Jordan is not there, but her kids are there. Her relatives, probably her mother, her aunt, everybody is there, but life has changed for them.
Absolutely.
So who's going to pay for that? It's not about one individual. It's about families. So let's just, I just hope that, this is revised and maybe some kind of a, rigorous imprisonment should be, handed over to these people.
Right. We understand your sentiments here, Nilanjana, and clearly we'll have to wait and watch if the family is ready to challenge this in a higher court and mull other legal options. But many thanks for having joined us with your views and perspective, Nilanjana Chakravarti, as well as with all the updates for Indrajit Kundu to have joined us.
All right, we are getting in breaking news right now. Those were the headlines, but let's just get you news about the Salman Khan verdict. A verdict is expected anytime soon now, and it seems to...
So, guys, do you know why he's Kukkara Kamalda? Because he's a Delhi boy.